Welcome back to another league race. This time we're back with FTRL for round number one of
Oh,
a new season here
wait,
at
wait, wait.
Brazil.
I think it's
Dry
going to stay
qualifying,
dry. It's only going to
and
get wet
there's going to be
towards the
rain
end.
in the race, but we'll get to that. But a new season here for FTRL. I was on
It'll
the
probably
fence
be
whether I
half an
join or
hour
not,
or
but
no.
here I am. My teammate is Dutch. We're in the Ferrari, which unusual car for me. Normally, I don't like using the Mercedes or a Red Bull or a Ferrari. I much prefer the Alpine than the past Racing Point. Teams like that rather
What
than
are you
these
on site,
top
Hayden?
teams. So,
10-5.
anyways, we're gonna go and see how we get on. Look, I'm not gonna put a lot of time into this really. Like maybe practice on race day or maybe the day before, but like I'm
10-5.
not
3-1.
investing a lot of time into this. But it is fun to do, get the competitive juices flowing. This is our helmet. I
150
thought I'd
and
do something like an Ollie
100%
Behrman
rear all the way.
kind of look that he's got in the Prema for F3. Norris would obviously come to mind as a car like that, a helmet that could be similar to this as well. This is until at least more helmets are unlocked in the fucking game, so you can free to play with. Anyways, end of Q, or not Q2, not Q3, just end of qualifying really. Short qualifying, obviously. Made up a lot of time. I lost. I was like you see, I was nearly 2 tenths down, and made it back. So you can kind of see what was maybe possible if things had been a little bit better through the first sector in a bit, but. Anyways, we're going to move up to P7, I believe. We're about 5 thousandths off of Adam and P6. To be honest, this is a good track for me. Like I find it very easy to be very consistent at Brazil,
15
and the
minutes,
setup I
half
was
an hour
using was
can
an
be
absolute
anything from
dream as well.
25 minutes to
So
15 minutes. You just
I
don't
was
know.
very happy with that. Qualified P7 as well.
How did you
Again,
shoot your
this
off
track is
Hayden?
good to me. I've got an FTRL podium here in the past,
Yeah,
one
that's
without a
just,
safety car.
that's hard. Hard.
As well. Looking at that rain, I'm going to put on the hard compound tires, and we'll go from there. And we'll see how.
Boy.
Usually the rain comes sooner than the graph phone shop. So yeah, we're going to work with that and see how we get on with that, and just play it by ear. Honestly, there's a lot of fuck's sake, Dan. Stop fucking Belgium for
Fucking
fuck's
cunt.
sake. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made in this race. You're going to see them and all. Warming the tires did not start very well. This is shambolic for myself now. I'm not going to lie. It's one thing to lie up the rears. You know, that's one thing. But obviously, with the whole parking system now on this grid, I didn't know if we could go through people or not. So
Things are freezing.
my tires are up to temperature, but I had to go. I felt I had to go around. I think is it Tom? Yeah, I had to go around Tom. A very very sloppy parking job. The braking was pretty rough, so that was pretty shambolic on my part. But anyways, I started way further back. I'm on hards as well. Dylan's on softs. Tom is on mediums. Away we go. The start actually, I think I would have been okay for the start. I had not been like 3 meters back from my grid slot, but maybe not against Tom, but Dylan maybe. Anyways, they both go through. Joe's on my outside here. Comes right across into me. I was a little worried about that, but
Oh, Drew Wilson.
anyways, he goes off for a spin. He just came straight to my line there. So if, I would be pretty upset if I'd come away with wing damage or anything like that. But really, nothing else happened this lap. Really, we're just kind of settling into affairs here. 36 laps, it does go, but it is a long way to go. So we're just going to settle it as best as we can. Lap number 4, I was within DRS of Tom here, but I made a bit of a mistake there coming out of turn 1. These hards, they're not the best tire to start on, but I'll have to get into the screw of them pretty quickly. But Dan on hards is having a little bit better time of things. Well, he had a better time than he's coming out of that turn anyways, and he's going to go for a move on the inside, leaving the space. Holding side by side, and then eventually it's a very narrow piece of road this, you can barely get 2 cars up here. Eventually he cedes the position, and we keep that, but crucially we lose DRS to Tom in Barcelona. Dylan's gone up the road on his softs. So that, yeah, pretty rough to be losing. We didn't need to do that so soon. Dylan pitted after lap 4. I was looking at his footage. His softs are completely overheated and done by lap 4. That's why he came in. I thought it was any damage, no, actually, I thought the hards may have been gone as well. I initially suspected damage, but no. Lap number 9, where Dan's already got a penalty, which is handy. So I'm feeling a little less pressure because I know I've got just as much pace as him, if not more. But he is going to use his ERS and his DRS to effect. Sneak down the inside. I didn't jump out of the way, but I was happy to let that move happen because I knew he wasn't going to drop me, and I tried to use a lot of ERS's early phase of races, stick within DRS of Tom and Barcelona, and that obviously went to shit. So I'm happy to use this chance to save some ERS and just stay within Dan's DRS. A nice comfortable gap to Wesker behind. So, anyways, moving on then to lap number 10. Adam is out of the race, and that is going to bring us our first choice of the day, our first conundrum, which is the safety car is deployed. Now, obviously, immediately checking the rain at first. See what the story was. In the no-com version of this, I leave a lot more of this kind of dialogue in. This inner party dialogue in to see what the story is, but I decided I was going to pit because I felt pretty good that in 15 minutes medium should carry me to that point, so I was happy enough to do this. So initially I had the wing turned up for the wets. I had to turn that back down, so mediums then will go on the car, and we'll go from there. Nice early box for the Ferrari garage. Nice. Although I guess it'd better be last if anything else. I don't know. Anyways, out we come. A lot of people pitch it as well. Wesker's here is on softs. I think Kevin's on... I can't see, the screen is far away from me. But Dan stayed out. I think Superman was the highest person who pitted. And he was in a duel with Tico and Dutch at the top. So they stayed on their hards. Remember that? That's going to be important for later. Anyway, safety car. I think Tico had this restart, and he went much earlier than I think I expected him to.
Oh, cheeky bastard!
Actually, much earlier than most people I think expected him to. I in particular was caught absolutely napping, and then Wesker on his softs is going to have a better braking point into turn one and try to fight it, but my turning angle is too steep, and Wesker on his softs is going to just get through there. So. I initially thought I'd try and fight back, but the door is closed on the inside there, so... a little frustrating, because I know I have more pace than Wesker, but he's on the softs for now, which will be a quicker tyre. We're going to stay with this for a little bit, as I try and explore, just explore the spaces on the track, maybe put him under pressure, see if I can open a gap somewhere, keep his mirrors busy, keep that red proximity arrow kind of guessing, so to speak. Out the front there, you got Tom, I think, who didn't pitch. Superman who has, Dylan who pitched. Actually, I think Dylan's still on his mediums for when he pitched earlier. I'm not 100% sure. I think he must be because he didn't. He gained that track position back. You see. Anyways, Matman didn't pitch as well. He's under pressure. He's getting kind of gazumped there. Wesker loses the back end there, so that's a position we get. I don't know how he lost it there. Like, it's a very strange accident because he was well past the corner. So unless the softs may have just died on him. It was very, very strange. Not the usual kind of error you see out of there. It was the tires was just absolutely lit up like all of a sudden. They could do that coming out of that downhill left-hander just before Junsao. It's like a little bump you seem to hit or something there. Like the car just wants to go into the limiter. It's very, very strange. So maybe something similar to that. Anyways, Matman is here now. I need to get past him as quickly as possible. He's on older tires. I think I've got a little pace on them, and I don't want the cars in front of me driving away. So we just fast forward a little bit on the lap. Gap was a little open there, so I went to just try and stick my nose in to see what the story is. That actually allowed Kevin on his softs now to get a good run on the outside. Matman loses it. Dan and Tom have gone off in front. A bit of lag in front that actually caused them to come together. And so Kevin didn't get the job done there. There was a lot of stuff for us to avoid there going side by side, but we managed to avoid it. And I decided I wasn't going to fight this because he's on softs. He had the run, so I'm just going to try and stick with him. Again, use the chance to recover some ERS, and maybe he'll pull me towards Dylan as well. So we'll see. Anyways, these mediums, by the way, were an absolute dream. They were really, really good tire. You're going to see how good they were towards the end of this race as well. So happy to stay here within Kevin's DRS. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to use ERS to do so, to get back to him. So even if he defends air there, I'm no interest in attacking him anyways. Tails then has a spin. He actually qualified up the front, I believe. Yeah, second, I believe. So he loses it and he'll retire in the pits then as well. So that's a position gained, and we're in a decent position. P7. Moving on into lap number 20. We were slowly being dragged towards Dylan, but this is the time where Kevin's softs began to go. The soft compound tire is just not as durable around this plate as it used to be in past games. So I decided now was the time to go for this move. I had the run and I had the pace, and I knew I had the pace to pull away now. So we're going to go through into P6. Good stuff in front because, you know, Barcelona is on hards, yeah. Dylan is on older mediums. Again, his mediums are on lap 4. So he was really struggling for pace in this phase of race. He was really, really struggling. And we caught him very, very quickly. And we're going to overtake him here, heading down this main straight, heading on to lap 24. Rain, by the way, still has yet to come yet. You know, but these mediums are holding on well. And I don't know, when I look at the... I'll go for a little dive here on the inside. On Dylan's point of view, it actually didn't look as bad as it was on my screen, to be honest. The space was there. I had to make sure I just stayed in front. I used a bit of DRS or ERS rather, just to stay in front, but I knew I could pull away when I got this overtake done, because I knew I just had good pace on the tyre advantage. And lap 25, the rain arrives now. You can see I've been on these tyres since lap 10 or so. We're lap 25, we're not even at 60% yet. So, you know, these tyres have got good life on them. They're less than 50%. So, the rain has arrived. So now, again, for some reason F122 has made it a lot more difficult to judge sector times, like live time sector times. So I had to actually keep the number in mind, which is 55.4. Dutch is in. It's far too early because like the sector times are exactly the same. Dutch's hards are done because he's been on those since the beginning of the race. I'm now basically guaranteed at least a P2 because Barcelona's pitted as well. And Wesker has retired out of the race and a safety car is out. I'm fuming at this stage because it's far too early for Inters. We would go to the end on this tyre, essentially. I would have gone to the end of this tyre, and you'll see how that would have been possible. Tico would have had to pit as well. Superman had this race in his bag. I'll leave it in the no-com version. There's an absolute conundrum as to what to do. I was so late deciding to go into Inters, I almost hit the pit wall. I decided to go for Inters, even though I knew the medium was still look tired to be on, the dry was still look tired to be on. It was a gamble. It was an absolute gamble that... Well, a calculated risk that in 3 laps' time the track would have switched, because it's already taken 4 or 5 laps already to not deteriorate at all. We're going at a much slower rate, about a minute and a half per lap for 3 laps or so. It's going to be touch and go between the softs or the Inters being the quicker tyre. So it is going to be very, very touch and go. I decided to take the gamble. A little annoyed that the podium I had, you know, I think I was going to have at this stage kind of went out the window. But, you know, we're in a good place still here. And we're going to see how we get on. This is the restart then. It's still raining. Barcelona is on softs. Joe, Dan, they're behind me on softs as well. So, here we go then. And literally the crossover point happened now. The DRS is disabled now.
Fucking madman again,
and it became very clear through these first 2-3 corners that the softs were no longer the right tyre. The safety car was just a lap too long for these guys to make that advantage work. And I knew on these inters I could brake later than Barcelona in these conditions. So I go down the inside. I knew I could brake much later than him. And we take P4. A lot of decisions I had to make here to get myself in this position, and we had to make a lot of choices correctly.
No.
The mediums definitely was the right tyre to go on to. It's lap 33, and the tyre is only good enough now for inters.
Oh,
safety car came out on lap 30, and we add about 20 seconds per lap, essentially. Yeah. I would have stayed out on mediums to the end of this race. There's a chance the crossover point would have happened on the second or last lap, but the track wasn't so bad at that point that I would have lost a lot of time. So I definitely would have got a podium had that safety car not come out. So, but we're in P4. We begin the last lap of the race. I knew it was feisty at the front, but honestly, I couldn't focus on that. I just had to get myself across the line here. And then the Red Seas did they part. 1, 2, fucking 3. They all collapsed in front of each other. They all came together. All of a sudden, I'm leading this race. Had to calm myself down a little bit because it was, honestly, this came together very, very quickly. I've less than a lap to go to bring this home. I knew we could bring it home. Like, I'm experienced enough. I've won titles, I've won races before, but never an FTRL. But even still, all that past experience, my own just personal composure, I know I can bring this home. I know Superman's got a no front wing. I know even with a 1.7 second gap, I know I can measure every single corner, every single throttle point exactly to keep a gap over Tico. I knew he wasn't going to be a threat. I just took it extra careful just to, you know, not bottle it. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come out of the last corner
Did you just win this?
I didn't even think I'd be racing in the season. It was touch and go. Somehow, some way, we're going to come across the line and win in Division 1.
Go on,
I
Andrea.
can't believe it. Genuinely couldn't believe
Oh my
it.
god.
I didn't expect it. I never thought I would win a race in this division. Honestly, I never thought that the circumstances would come together.
I'll take 7th.
It was emotional. It was a very, very sweet victory. One of my sweetest ever. I can't think of too many others that have been as sweet as that. France TMC Div 3 was one. I got my first TMC win after being there for a few years. Hungary in DNS. After I lost, I remember when my dog passed away. I had a race, I think, the next day. He's back, and that was an emotional win. I've had a few good wins in my time, be it in DNS or well, mostly just DNS really, and one in TMC, or I had a few in TMC to be fair that were good. One in Silverstone in the West in at the time TTML was a good one, but that right there was a sweet win. I know it was circumstance to look 3 cars took each other out. I understand the inherited look at that, but I made all the right calls, all the right choices to get to that point. My pace was good. I was heading for a podium regardless because of my choices. Not so much. Well, my pace was decent as well, to be fair. So, honestly, absolutely smashed it. A brilliant, brilliant, brilliant race. A track I really, really love too. So, look, in FTRL, the best I could hope for each season is at least 1 podium. And to do that, to get a race win in the first race, to get all that out of the way is really, really sweet. It's such a sweet feeling. The reason I waited so long for this video was because I was hoping to do the standings, where I'm on top of the standings for at least 1 race, at least. But not to be. But what a race. The no-con version goes into a lot more of the dilemmas between the strategy, which I think are really interesting. But yeah, that's going to be it for this week. Next up is Belgium. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, we fucking did it.